Have you ever looked at your aloe vera, the one quietly judging you from that sunny windowsill for the past 6, maybe 8 years, and thought, wait, can this thing actually flower? Well, yes, it can. But if yours hasn't, don't take it personally. Your aloe just has very high standards. Now picture this. You walk into your living room one morning, glance at your plant, and suddenly, there it is. A tall stalk rising from the center, crowned with flowers that look like they came from another planet. And your first thought, what is happening? Because let's be honest, most people never see an aloe bloom. Not once. So when it does happen, the question isn't just why, it's why now with you. Today, we're unraveling that mystery, where science, time, and a few unexpected factors quietly align. Stay with me. This one might change how you see your plant. Let's start with a little perspective. Aloe vera has been on this planet for over 6,000 years. That's longer than most civilizations, and considerably longer than your patience with a plant that won't bloom. Ancient Egyptians called it the plant of immortality. Cleopatra reportedly used it in her beauty routine. Alexander the Great is said to have conquered the island of Socotra, specifically to secure a supply of aloe for his soldiers' wounds. The man built an empire, and even he had to go to the plant. The plant wasn't coming to him. Throughout all of this history, the aloe bloom was considered something of a gift, a sign. Farmers and healers took notice when it happened. Because it didn't happen often. They didn't have Instagram back then, of course, but rest assured, if they did, a blooming aloe would have broken the algorithm. The flower itself, a tall, torch-like spike covered in tubular yellow, orange, or red blossoms, looks almost theatrical compared to the plant's usual stoic, pointy composure. Like watching a quiet librarian suddenly break into a Broadway number. You didn't see it coming. You almost don't believe it's happening, and yet there it is. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Aloe vera is a perennial succulent native to the Arabian Peninsula and parts of Africa. In its natural environment, it blooms seasonally, typically once a year, responding to specific conditions of light, temperature, and rainfall. Indoors, however, aloe vera gets comfortable, and comfort, as any gardener will tell you, is the enemy of flowering. Your aloe is essentially living its best life in a pot, warm, watered, cared for, with absolutely no reason to put in the extra effort. It's the plant equivalent of someone who has no incentive to change. It's not broken, it's just settled. The technical term for this is reproductive dormancy. But we can call it what it really is. Your aloe is perfectly happy and perfectly unbothered. In the wild, blooming is an act of survival. The plant flowers to reproduce, to attract pollinators, to ensure the next generation. When a plant feels secure, well-fed, and under no particular pressure, it may simply decide that all of that seems like a lot of work. And honestly, relatable. There are also some non-negotiables. Aloe vera typically must be at least 4 years old before it will bloom. Some plants take considerably longer. You cannot rush this. Nature does not respond to timelines or gentle suggestions. Believe me, people have tried. So what does it actually take? If you want your aloe to bloom, you need to speak its language. And its language, it turns out, is mostly about hardship. Just enough of it. Trigger 1. Bright, direct light. Aloe vera needs at least 6 hours of direct sunlight daily. A north-facing windowsill is not going to cut it. If your plant has been living in gentle, polite, indirect light for years, it's never going to feel the urgency. Move it outside in summer if you can. Let it feel the sun. It'll thank you, eventually, in its own time, on its own terms. Trigger 2. A proper dry season. In winter, reduce your watering significantly. Let the soil dry out completely between waterings. This mimics the dry season in aloe's native habitat and quietly tells the plant, hey, something's changing. Maybe it's time to make your move. Plants, much like some people we know, only act when they feel a little pressure. Trigger 3. A cool but not cold winter. Temperatures between 50 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit at night during winter can trigger blooming. If your home stays warm year-round, your aloe has no seasonal cues. Try placing it near a cooler window or an unheated room in winter. Not freezing, just mildly inconvenient. Think of it as a character-building exercise for your plant. Trigger 4. The right pot size. Here's one that surprises people. Aloe actually blooms more readily when slightly root-bound. A pot that's too large gives the plant too much room to expand, and it focuses its energy on roots instead of flowers. A snug pot says, in plant language, we are out of room. It is time to reproduce. Don't go too tight, but don't oversize it. This is truly the Goldilocks of containers. Trigger 5. Patience. There is no shortcut for this one. No supplement, no trick, no secret formula. Some aloe plants bloom every year once they start. Others bloom once and then never again. And some, most indoor ones frankly, never bloom at all during their entire lives. If yours blooms, you have witnessed something genuinely rare. Do pause to appreciate it. You know, one of the things I love most about this community is hearing from people who've actually witnessed an aloe bloom, because it's rarer than most people think, and the stories are always wonderful. If you're new here and haven't yet, there's a little button somewhere on your screen. Press it, and you'll be part of the conversation the next time something like this comes up. We talk about plants. We share surprises. It's a good group. No pressure, just like your aloe. Drama. Handled gently. Let's talk about what actually happens when aloe vera blooms, because it's more dramatic than it looks. From the center of the plant, a long stalk, called an inflorescence, begins to emerge. It can grow anywhere from 1 to 4 feet tall, topped with clusters of tubular flowers in shades of yellow, orange, or vivid red. The whole thing takes several weeks to develop fully. It does not rush. It has never rushed. It will not be starting now. The flowers are slightly pendulous. They hang downward, like little bells, which makes them perfectly shaped for hummingbirds and long-beaked insects to feed from. In its native habitat, aloe blooms are an important nectar source during dry seasons, when other flowers are scarce. The plant, for all its stubbornness, is actually quite generous once it decides to show up. Now here is the part that surprises people, and I want to say this gently. For some species of aloe, particularly monocarpic varieties, blooming can mark the end of the plant's life cycle. The plant pours its remaining energy into reproduction, produces seeds or offshoots called pups, and then gradually declines. Aloe vera proper, the common houseplant, is not monocarpic. It can and does bloom multiple times. But if your plant blooms and then seems to slow down or produce more pups than usual, that's not a crisis. That's the plant doing what it's always intended to do, carry itself forward into the next generation, quietly, on its own schedule, with no input requested from you. Most conversations about aloe vera stop at the gel, the miraculous, soothing, sunburn-saving gel. And yes, the gel is remarkable. We're not here to argue with 6,000 years of evidence. But the flower? The flower has its own story, and almost nobody tells it. Aloe vera flowers contain nectar that is rich in both sugars and amino acids, highly attractive to hummingbirds, sunbirds, and several species of bees. In South Africa and the Canary Islands, where aloe plants bloom prolifically outdoors, they are considered a critical food source during winter months when little else is flowering. The aloe doesn't announce this. It simply does it. There is also emerging research into the potential medicinal properties of aloe flowers themselves. Compounds found in the blooms show early promise in antioxidant and anti-inflammatory studies, though it is far too early to make any firm claims, and we'll be sure to keep you updated as the science develops. What we do know is this: the bloom isn't just a novelty, it's a functional, ecologically significant event. When your aloe flowers, it is briefly, magnificently, giving back to the ecosystem around it. Even if your ecosystem is a sunny apartment in the middle of a city, bees find a way. They always do. They're very determined, unlike certain plants we know. So, what do you actually do if your aloe decides to bloom? First, enjoy it, genuinely. Take a photo. Tell someone. This is not a small thing. You have cared for a plant long enough that it trusted you with one of its rarest moments. That matters. Second, don't cut the stalk unless it's clearly dead. The plant is using it. Let the flowers run their full course. Once the blooms fade and the stalk dries completely, then you can trim it cleanly at the base. Until then, leave it alone. It knows what it's doing. It's been doing this for 6,000 years. Third, watch for pups. A blooming aloe often produces offshoots around its base. These can be gently separated and repotted once they're a few inches tall. This is how your one aloe becomes two, and two becomes 4. And suddenly you have a situation that requires a conversation with your household. And if your aloe has never bloomed and you've had it for years, that's okay. It's not a reflection of your care. Some plants simply choose not to. They are warm, they are healthy, they are producing gel on demand, and they have decided that flowering is simply not on the agenda. They are content. They are quiet. They are, in their own succulent way, perfect. Not everything that is extraordinary announces itself with a bloom. Sometimes, the wonder is in the everyday presence of a thing that has quietly outlasted everything else on the shelf. The aloe vera bloom is one of the plant world's small, unhurried mysteries, and now you know more about it than most. You know what triggers it, what it means, what to do when it happens, and why it's worth the wait, even if the wait is, say, 8 years. If you've had your own aloe bloom, or if you're still patiently waiting, I'd genuinely love to hear about it in the comments. Drop a note. Tell me how long you've had your plant. We might just feature your story in an upcoming video. And if you haven't already joined us here, this is the kind of content we bring you every week. The lesser-known stories of the plants in your home, told with all the patience and affection they deserve. There's a subscribe button right below this video. Your aloe would probably want you to press it. It won't say so, but it would want you to. Until next time, keep tending, keep watching, and remember, the best things, like aloe blooms and a well-brewed cup of tea, are always worth the wait.